Let's go live to Simon Banks and Peter McGorran. Gentlemen, great to see you both. Simon, from a Labor perspective, of course, which you bring to the political discussion, what do you make of this spat between Alex Hawke and Jacinta Nampijinpa Price, particularly over those comments on Indian migrants? The opposition leader knows there's a massive sensitivity here and a risk politically. She was out at Harris Park last night, meeting with other Indian groups later in the day as well today, trying to mop it up.
Yeah, and there are still significant parts of the Indian community who are saying that they're not satisfied with Senator Price's response to all of this, that they genuinely want an apology, which quite frankly they deserve. I mean, in one sense, I get why Alex Hawke would be upset by her remarks. His electorate has a large population of Indians in it. And I think one of the things, Kieran, that people forget is that Alex is sitting on a marginal seat these days, up against Labor, let alone up against the Teals. So he must be feeling that pressure. I don't know what was said between him and Senator Price and her office. I just hope that was all conducted appropriately.
Peter McGorran, it's certainly not gone down well with the Indian community, and you can see the speed with which Susan Lee's tried to deal with it yesterday with Mark Speakman and other senior Liberals meeting with representatives of a community, and the suggestion, I think, that really would grate with many of them, given what a hard-working, wonderful contribution that community makes to our nation, the suggestion that they might be relying on welfare, which seems at odds with the vast bulk of Australians of Indian heritage.
Yeah, agreed, Kieran. It was a spectacular own goal. It was politically stupid to stigmatise a whole community or cultural group in that way. It was poor judgment on the part of Senator Price. She's tried to make good. Clearly, the initial words were somewhat guarded or qualified. I don't believe an apology would be effective now. An apology delayed is an apology devalued. Alex Hawke's intervention also similarly showed poor political judgment. Of course, Senator Price then publicising his criticisms of her also added to the imbroglio. So all in all, a very distasteful and politically harmful episode for the coalition.
Yes, indeed. Hard to disagree with that assessment. And on the energy debate, Peter, first to you on this. I spoke to Dan Tehan. He's in the United States wanting to, on a bit of a fact-finding mission, I'd say, on nuclear energy particularly, but on broader energy policy. And I can understand why he's doing it. He's got a tough job. He's got to try and navigate a point where the whole of the coalition can get on board. But are you surprised that they're still looking at nuclear given the events and the result at the election a few months back?
No, because nuclear does make environmental and economic sense if the small nuclear reactor modules are as efficient and are as available as they seem to be appearing around the world. I listened to that interview you've just conducted with Dan T and Kieran, and I thought he made some very sensible points. Technologically neutral is the right way to approach this energy debate. By the way, the fact that Barnaby Joyce's private members' bill is being debated in the House again today, or at least this week, to abolish net zero by 2050, just reminds us that the issues surrounding Senator Price in the Indian community will pass, but are just a minnow compared to the overall seriousness and vote important issue of energy policy to the coalition. That is the big issue that the coalition has to get on top of.
The Prime Minister addressing the Business Council tonight, Simon, wanting an end and urging the business community to support him in ending the climate and energy wars. Dan Tehan says, well, if the only party being ideological at the moment is the government by not lifting the ban on nuclear, why not lift it? Just have it done and see if the market wants to choose.
But Kieran, that's a joke. Like, the reality is that nuclear might take 15 to 20 years, even if you lifted that ban tomorrow. There are state government bans in place stopping it as well. The truth is it's not a solution. We actually have really important issues to do with reliability and efficiency of the grid over the next 5 to 10 years. Nuclear cannot possibly be part of that solution. And as much as the coalition run around saying that they're technology agnostic, well, why is it they are campaigning against every renewable project they can see around the country? I think it's disingenuous. I don't think it's serious policy developments occurring with inside the coalition. If they actually had some policies that sometime in the next 5 or 10 years could reduce emissions in a meaningful way, then they would be at the starter gate of this debate. But they literally went to the last election with putting it off into the never never and with not a single policy that would have reduced emissions within the next 10 years.
Simon and Peter, thank you, gentlemen. Catch you next week. Appreciate it.